What's going on, everybody? Today I will be talking about the leveling build I used for Barbarian. From level 1 to 50, I just did finish 24-hour stream. We managed to hit level 50 and reach world tier 354, hitting the 24-hour mark. So with this Barbarian, you're not gonna see classic relevant like everyone is using. There's a sleeper build, I think, which is double swing. A lot of people are just underrating that skill itself, or like the build overall. Huge potential for that as well, both early, mid, and end game. So I'll be definitely focusing on that build. This is just my footage from the 24-hour stream from the race. And we started with lunging strike. That was our basic skill because it has great mobility. And I keybinded lunging strike to dual wield because it's higher attack speed, which means faster fear regen. You could go with Twender and put the points in those 3 points in more resource generation if you're using Twender with that skill, but we kinda limited with skill points this early on, so we wanna put those points in the core skill mainly. But our core skill is double swing. I will talk about that a little bit later. And then we go into Railing Crime for the resource regen. You wanna also look for stun effects. If you're playing with someone in a group, we can ask him to go for stun effects or knock down on the ground. Like here, for example, you will have full refund on double swing, as you can see right there. That's the upgraded perk for double swing, which they buffed after the second beta, or if I recall correctly. So this was our starting build. I then later on had a charge and leap combination here for huge mobility. Like if you can get charge, leap, and you get lunging strike, this is very, very mobile class. If you can get some aspect for leap cooldown reduction or like the upgraded points for these two abilities, then it's really crazy good. Goes super well if you don't have mount yet. You can get mount after reaching Act 3, I believe. You just talk to NPC and kill a shot to the stable master, you will get the mount. So that doesn't happen until level 30 plus. So until then, as you can see here, it cuts a lot of distance. We get the Railing Cry for movement speed, we get Charge Leap, then we get the Lunging Strike for the mobs as well. And I got bugged here. Because that's one thing you gotta keep in mind, you cannot use Charge against obstacles like this, because you will get bugged out. So what I did was, I actually don't know, but I fixed it in a second after something, right? Let me take a look actually, because I don't recall. You could use shouts, I could use everything. I think I pressed right, there you go, I pressed an emote, right? So if this happens to you, alright, just press on the emote, that's it. And later on, when I was higher level, I had to redo my build because we needed some, it also depends what kind of items you get from mobs and aspects as well. But I went with the Death Blow and Ground Stomp. You need the stun from Ground Stomp for the double swing full refund. It's very good, especially later on if you get Unbridled Fury, Unbridled Rage, I mean, where your core skill does a lot of damage but costs a lot of fury as well. So that's a great thing. I'll talk about it in a second. So this was my like mid build, if you will, at around level 35, 40, something like that. And once I reach level 50, which I will tackle on today actually, so it's gonna be a two-part guide, right? So 1 to 50 and then 50 to 100. So I'm doing a different build from 50 to 100 with double swing. If you are feeling squishy, you should go for shouts, as in even the challenging one. But real quick, I'll take you in the game right now. So this is the build I will be probably rocking with, like a main build, but for the double swing, you definitely want the Ground Stomp, which is the stun, because if you have stunned enemies, you have a full refund on the double swing, as you can see, 25 Fury, and our skill costs 25 Fury, but thanks to Unbridled Rage, it's 100% more Fury. And this is pairing super well with double swing because it's a very cheap skill. Barbarian struggles with resource management and overall with Fury, especially early on, so that's why we want to get double swing. And Ground Stomp on top of that gives you Fury here as well, and I was also using Death Blow for this perk right here, this skill upgrade, because it also gives you Fury. That's why I used it. Now there is one thing that is amazing for any bar build. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but What you want to look for here is 1 point in here. Your bleeding affects slow enemies. So there is an aspect that makes your attacks bleed. But if you don't have that, you just go with lunging strike and you go with bleed on lunging strike. That's why you apply it. It's also very good early on because it does pretty good damage. You also level on World Tier 1. You don't level on World Tier 2. It's just not worth it. It takes too long. So World Tier 1 is faster, smoother. Go after that. So 1 point for here to apply slow. And if you have slowed enemies, we have increased crit chance 24/7 by 9%. And that's what we want. That's what we want. We want as much crit chance as we can up until 100%. Because critical damage, that's the that's a huge hit. So we want to go for that. Now, if you struggle with the tankiness, survivability, you want to put points in challenging shout and the max HP in here. You can even go for this one. You get more fury. I might test it out later as well if I struggle with fury, but you can go with that. So if you have all 3 shouts or even 2 shouts, these passives are just amazing. So your shouts are, longer, if you will. Then we got heal, which is very handy as well. Helps with the tankiness, and especially against bosses. And then you can also go for this one. I feel like this, where enemies do less damage. I feel like this is a very powerful debuff on enemies, especially for hardcore. So I'll be looking into this going into Nightmare, World Tier 3, when things will get harder. You want to get especially Prolific Fury here, so for more Fury regeneration. This build is non-stop Berserk, as long as you have Fury, as long as you can cast Double Swing. It makes your Berserk go for 2 more seconds, right? So this is what I'm rocking with. Great for leveling because Berserk gives you movement speed and damage, as you can see here. 25% increased damage and 15% movement speed. So it helps with the mobility. I also have passives here for movement speed because what we are looking for in ARPGs is the clear speed or just movement overall. We should also put some points here in max life, which I will do, but I am actually working on Renown, which is extra skill points. So if you actually go into map, you press W, then for each of these zones, you can see you can get up to 2 points here. Not to mention Paragon boards, but that's for the different video for the second part. But that's what I'm working with. That's what we'll work on today. I got Fractured Peak, Skull's Glen done, so I can get 3 more points, which will go into the max HP and 1 more point in here, pressure point. Vulnerable is a great source for damage. Enemies take 20% more damage, and you can increase that effect with some perks on the weapons. I believe I have 1 weapon. I used to have. But I think, oh, there we go. There's the ring. So vulnerable damage, 12%. Now, vulnerable damage is probably the highest damage increase for a build because it's a separate damage bucket. Nothing interferes with that. So, in itself, that's why it's strongest. You can take a look at your character sheet, and vulnerable damage should be right here. I got 32% on top of the overall 32%. So 12% from the ring on top of the 20% is the base. So that's that. You could also go for... Now it depends on what kind of weapon you're using. I also recommend getting this one for 45. But for this one, we kind of need an aspect that drops from dungeons. All my aspects for this build are from dungeons. There is no RNG involved. You can get these aspects just guaranteed if you clear a dungeon. But if you don't have the aspect for 45, you can get 45 from the work right here. If you're interested, if you need that. And then as an ultimate, so I went for attack speed. Attack speed scales very well when it comes to damage because, higher attack speed means more damage, more attacks, often attacks. Because we're using one-handers and we dual wield. Now I went with Call of the Ancients because of the attack speed here, another attack speed. And damage as well for 6 seconds from Call of the Ancients. And on top of that, if those Ancients hit their attacks, you get Fury, which is more regen for double swing. We get Slow, which is again the CC, but we don't really need that because we had it 24/7. And then Chance to Stun, which is again amazing for our double swing because we can get non-stop refund. Almost. If you're struggling with Rage, especially early on, you can just take away from the Unbridled and put it into Unconstrained. So your Berserk lasts longer and you have increased damage. And with that, You could even go with double swing vulnerability, so you can have non-stop uptime on vulnerable. But if you're playing in a group, you know, you'll most likely have vulnerable 24/7 on the targets from your team members. So yeah. So this was the mobility, defensive here as well. You can also go Wrath of the Berserker for mobility and Unstoppable. Unstoppable is a pretty good perk. That's another one that kind of people, a lot of people I've heard or seen that are underrating this perk. So Unstoppable is full CC immunity. There is one boss in dungeon I was unable to defeat until I spec'd into more defensive stats or build. Just for the boss itself, it was Defiled Catacomb with that spider, with those webs and poison pool webs and billions of ads. That one was pretty crazy. Now these points here, Vallop and Concussion, I value the most, but before that we need to use one-handed maces. Or, I haven't been able to test that, if you can put your expertise as a mace, it should activate. I didn't really test it though, so don't quote me on that. For technique, ideally, you wouldn't want to use 200 expertise for X, because once again, damage to vulnerable enemies. And then you get crit chance as well to vulnerable enemies. So this one is the best to put as a technique. If you put a technique here, this is a global buff across all your weapons. You don't have to use the 200x. And then it depends what weapon you use. So you want to use maces here. I have them. So you want to use maces here for the more damage, but also about the stun with these passives here. So Wallop gives us more damage by 15%. To stunned, once again we have with the stun, or vulnerable enemies. And then Concussion gives us a chance to stun the enemies for more refund for double swing, and once again more damage here with Vallop. And goes hand in hand with No Mercy, which is activated by the slow. But when it comes to aspects, right? This was the skills. When it comes to aspects, there are amazing combinations that I haven't seen anyone or take these aspects. I don't think anyone knows about these, but there are a couple of them. They're all dropping from the dungeons. And now I will link the map in the description. But this map right here just shows you all dungeons. And if you search here up top, for example, Bleed, it shows you where it drops, right? So you hover over dungeon, click on the dungeon. And we are looking for this one, Aspect of Berserk Ripping. So you see it drops from a Mournfield dungeon in Dry Steps. So that's what we want to go for. Just clear the dungeon, get the aspect in your Codex of Power, which is in Y keybind right here, Codex of Power. And boom. It always applies the lowest value of the aspect, but that's still fine. So I put that bleed on. Give me a second, I had to redo it. So I put it on my gloves here. So while berserking, we have non-stop berserk with this build. We apply bleed, right? With the bleed, you've seen the passive, it applies slow, which is the CC for crit chance. We got some Fury Generation here on the rings. That's what we want to go for as well. Now with this bleed applying on targets, you have a chance to stun the enemies. You would ideally want to put this on 200 for more chance to stun the enemies. But I have it on Amulet, that's 50% increased effect. Which means more chance to get full refund on double swing once again. And there is another one where you deal damage to stun enemies. So if you can get so much stuns on mobs besides your ground stomp, you deal even more damage. But once again, you want to put this on 200 because you will deal more damage. So base is 20%, 20 to 40% from the dungeon, but since it's 200, it's 2 times stronger, it's 40%. There's another one I haven't been able to clear because that one drops from this stronghold. You gotta clear this stronghold first, unlocks a dungeon. And I believe that one is called, let me find it real quick on the map. It has something to do with stun. It's chaining as well. I have a better idea. There we go. When you hit a crowd-controlled enemy, which is the stun we apply on bleed enemies, you have a chance to spread the CC. I actually tested this build in the first beta that I played, and the chain CC and stuns are insane. I actually have the video up on my YouTube as well. I will probably link it right there in the right upper corner. So if you can, it's gonna be great for dungeon clearing because you can stun elites as well. And in my streams, in the footage and whatnot, you will see that as long as the elite is stunned, the damage is just insane because of Unbridled Rage and the Uptown Fury as well. And this is not even like finished or like with this when it comes to resources. We will have access to paragons and whatnot, so resource management will get much better. And when it comes to defensive aspects, you want to look for this one right here. Also drops from a dungeon. So once again, in the map, you type Fortify, you find this. I think it drops from Havazar, I'm not too sure. But because of this cheap build for Fury, we get a lot of Fury as well. You will have almost full HP bar, full of Fortify. With this, once again, goes super well. The damage while fortified in here by 12%. So that's one. Another one is armor. Armor mitigation is amazing. So you want to get this one as well. Easy to get. Drops again from a dungeon. As you can see, it's imprinted. This one is not part of the build. I got it as a drop. I like the basic skill attack speed. And you can also see I'm using Frenzy for the attack speed. Because once you get better stats and just overall gear, Frenzy becomes better in terms of Fury generation. And main thing here, once again, it gives us attack speed for each stag. So we have 3 stacks of Frenzy. That's 15% attack speed for our double swing. You know, faster attacks, higher DPS. You guys know how it is. And last one are our boots. Once you're unstoppable, you get movement speed. Helps again with the mobility. There is never enough attack speed, but movement speed. Movement speed does cap though. I'm not sure what that is. 75%, I think, something like that. I think they got the cap of movement speed after the second beta again. But yeah, unstoppable. So we have a rallying cry for unstoppable. You can then get even charge, gives us unstoppable, so you can get movement speed that I showed you earlier on. You can get Wrath of the Berserker, gives us unstoppable. There you go. Aspect for double, so each core skill is aspect. This aspect for double swing is kind of, I don't know. I just don't see how. Maybe if you put this on a two-hander, it could be good because on two-hander it's increased effect 2 times stronger. But I feel like there are better aspects to put on two-handers. I could test. I'll probably test it, see how it goes. And then you would probably want to get basic skill attack speed as well. Now later on, once we get better uptime on shouts, aka better fury, more fury as well here, then and rallying cry too, you will not need a basic attack at all. But that's for a different video. So you would want to get this one as well. Drops from a dungeon. Once again, all these drop from dungeon except this one. I got this from I got it as a drop from mob, and I just don't see how this is good. I mean, this is especially when this is on two-hander, it just doesn't deal enough damage. This one is just bad. So on this one, I would actually want to put the you know what? On this two-hander, I will put the CC spread that I just showed you from a dungeon I need to clear for a higher chance. Yeah, definitely. Non-stop CC. I cannot wait to see that. So when it comes to gems, we want to put the blue gems in here because that's great damage against CC enemies. I just explained how much CC we will have there, right, on everyone. And for some of you may think that this is weak on bosses. It is not. With all these stuns and whatnot, it adds a lot of stagger to the bar for the boss. Once that once that white bar is filled to the max, that's always underneath the health bar of the boss. Once it maxed out, then it becomes a blue bar with a timer, right? During that timer, the boss counts as CC target. So not only will you get full refund on double swing, you'll do more increased damage as well to this stun target. And for example, if you have this ring, for example, is perfect for that. Damage to stun enemies and CC enemies, right? So that's why even on bosses, it's still good. The more stuns on the target, the more stagger it does for the bar, and the sooner it's staggered. And during that stagger phase, the boss cannot do anything, which means, you know, you will not die. For armor gems, I would go with the blue ones as well. It gives you damage reduction while fortified. We have a lot of fortify thanks to this aspect, and thanks to a lot of fury, because this build is very cheap for that. Jewelry, I would go with armor. I don't feel like the resources or resistances are that necessary. Might change later on with higher tier, but armor is amazing mitigation, so I would go for that. And consumables, there is only one that is worth, in my opinion. So actually 2. So there's one that gives you crit chance and crit damage. But my favorite is, once again, attack speed. There is never enough of attack speed, especially now when we need the basic skill to get the Fury gen. So this goes hand in hand. Also gives you experience, so even better. But ladies and gentlemen, that was it. This was the 1 to 50. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section or on Discord or on Twitter or on a stream as well. I'm streaming every day. I'm racing a softcore. I know I say I'm racing, but while I'm doing these videos, but I want to provide content for you. I want to help you guys understand this game better and just have better feeling, better, smoother gameplay and whatnot. So if you guys enjoyed it, if you guys like it, let me know. More things will come as well, special videos and guides and whatnot, everything. So until then, y'all have a good one and talk to you soon. Peace.